we're very spoilt for choice, even though we're like, this is shit.
Yeah, this is shit.
Like, we're pretty spoilt
oh my
for
God,
choice
I'm only
now.
getting 90 frames. What are you talking about? But like, back
What do you mean this isn't 4K? Like, fuck.
Exactly.
Hi, welcome to Gamified. I'm Harley,
I'm Zuff.
and we're here to give you all that nerdy goodness. What are we talking about today, Zuff?
Well, today we're talking about an episode that I know that you're not particularly happy
I
about.
fucking hate this episode already
yeah.
because I'm already so scared.
So today we're talking about horror movies and games. and the reason is we're releasing on Friday the 13th. So
Yes, we are.
it's just, you kind of have to, at this point.
We do.
Yeah. So I was actually going to just talk about some of the games I'm like reminiscing about.
You know you're going to do most of the talking,
I'm going
right?
to do most of the talking.
And
but-
I'm just going to sit here and pretend that horror doesn't exist in the world.
No, it
Because
definitely does.
I really hate it. Why do you like it so much?
I don't know. There's this something. Okay. So when I was a kid, I really wasn't that much into horror.
Mm-hmm.
And it only became a thing when I was a little bit older, when I didn't believe in those things anymore, that I could like.
How do
handle
you
it.
stop believing in those things though? I mean, I go to bed at night and I'm like checking all four corners of my room, checking my cupboard, under the bed, making sure my pillows haven't moved during the day while I'm out at work. Like how,
you're, like,
how are
super
you moving past that?
I just, once I got over the thing of like, I don't believe in certain things, so I questioned the belief of other things. It just became like oh well, there's no evidence for that. And it's like, and you look into reasons why, like, people see her like hallucinations, and it's like you can induce those. So it's like, it's definitely a brain chemistry thing rather than like a.
Okay, so I'm just crazy then?
Yeah, you're definitely crazy.
Okay, right.
All right, so what I want to talk about is like, we're going to go old school first, right? Like the first horror game that I remember playing. It's like a horror gore, right? And
Oh, well, I already know the one that I remember, and I
Which is what?
haven't touched it since.
What is
and it was the Resident Evil games.
I actually want to talk about that in a moment.
Okay.
But the first one I remember was Doom. Doom, like one. I
Ah.
played it on this shitty CRT monitor.
Oh, God.
Right? On the, like, I think it was like Windows 95. And
And
I
that
remember,
that
like-
thing ran like, I mean,
Like
it runs slow,
shit.
but
Like, yeah, it's
back
bad.
in those days, we were like, yes.
But it's funny. Like, there's something about the games back then. Like when it helps that I was a kid, right?
Yeah.
And even though everything was like pixelated and like bad graphics, like really bad, and the sound like was really like 8-bit
But it was
sound,
everything back
Yeah,
then. It was
that's all you needed.
everything.
but because of like the ambiguity in the picture and like the lack of detail, your imagination had to fill in like the rest of that space. It had
Yeah.
and it left room for fear, and that is what I think made it scarier. But I was also like 5 or 10 or something when I was playing.
And
it.
I think the only game that recently sort of took on that sort of persona was the Dead Space series,
Dead-
where you had the monsters coming up behind you
yeah.
and you had no freaking idea, and you would turn around and you were dead and you
Yeah.
had no idea, and you'd be like, I'm not playing this game in the middle of night. I'm
okay.
going to have it when all the lights are on. Someone has to be home. Like, that was a game that sort of had that same feel,
Yeah.
for Doom and the old
See,
school
like,
games.
like Resident Evil, right? I think Resident Evil 2 was possibly the one that I played. But there's this thing, because back then graphics processing was bad.
Oh,
right?
yeah. We're very spoilt for
We're-
choice, even though we're like, this is shit.
Yeah, this is shit.
Like, we're pretty spoiled
Oh my
for
God,
choice
I'm only
now.
getting 90 frames. What are you talking about? But like back then,
What do you
like,
mean this
when you-
isn't 4K? Like,
Yeah,
fuck.
exactly. When you're like walking through a level in Resident Evil, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't load with you, right? You're walking and you hit like the end of like that visual space, and then it loads the next section. And a thing I remember distinctly is it loaded the next section, and just around the corner was the monsters.
Yeah.
And that was like almost the first like exposure to like jump scares that I got. So
Okay, yeah.
like that
See,
that was like
yeah, I played that game. Never again.
never again.
Ever again. Horror should not be a thing. Whoever dreamt up horror should not be a thing.
Yeah.
Can I say that? No, I probably can't say that.
Because I
but-
enjoy horror and like gore movies. Like another game was like Silent Hill. I didn't get to play it much.
So many
but-
people were playing that, and I just ever since the first couple of Resident Evils, I tried. I would try
But
and
you
go
just
through the
couldn't.
first like 2 levels and went, I
No.
can't. I just can't.
My thing was, it's like the first game that I can really remember where you had like a limited viewing area only by what the light that source that you had was viewing. So it's another one of those things where your imagination filled in that void.
Yeah.
And it took it to the next level where you're like, there could be anything in the shadows and it's at any moment. It's not like I hear little sounds that are indicating that I'm going to be scared in a moment. It's like,
Which is why Dead Space became
Yeah,
so
same.
iconic as well, in that sense that they used sound very well. And it's like a lot of the movies that are coming out, they're using sound
or
as a big part, or the lack
the lack of,
thereof.
exactly. I was just going to say, like, it's
The lack
almost
of sound is almost more important.
And this is not a horror movie, or like the one I'm about to say. It's not really a horror movie, but it was like a very impactful movie, which is like The Revenant, right? That did not have much like soundtrack behind it. It was really like natural based sounds, and that void of sound gave it more impact
Yeah.
than like the just smashing in Michael Bay style with like explosions of sound.
Yeah.
Now there's one game that came out in like 2012, roughly,
Yeah.
and this game I never played, but I remember distinctly news stories around it, which was the Slender Man.
Yes,
thing.
I was
And
about
that-
to bring that up
yeah.
because I think that's like they used it as a puzzle game where you had to collect clues.
Yeah.
And you had a certain amount of time to do it, and
But
the Slender Man was coming at
Do
you.
you remember the story?
Ooh.
Like I remember there was these 2 girls in America.
Oh
and
yeah, and
stabbed their
they
friend.
stabbed their friend
Like they lured her into the
because
forest.
they
and,
believed there was a
Yeah.
Slender Man.
and they did it for Slender. And like so the
But there's
crazy thing
even
about
like
this story
game lore behind, like someone has made up a horror lore
behind it.
behind Slender Man. Like it's become
Yeah.
this huge thing.
But you know what's crazy? That girl that got stabbed, she got stabbed like I think it's like
She
10 to 20
survived.
Yeah, she survived.
She survived.
And then they got convicted of like mental issues. I was like, obviously. But
Wait, you're saying the Slender Man doesn't exist?
I don't know. It's like, you know,
Zuff.
I don't believe
Zuff.
in those things. Yeah.
He does exist.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you believe in that
Anyone
too.
who dreams up a horror fantasy like that, it exists.
And then in terms of like kind of throwing back to how we started the conversation,
Oh, sorry.
what
I
I'm-
know I pull this conversation
Yeah.
a lot. I'm really sorry.
I am looking forward in terms of like Doom and horror and stuff is Doom Eternal. It looks
Oh,
pretty good.
yeah.
Now I haven't played the most recent Doom game, which I'm actually considering getting just to play it.
Mhm.
But the trailers do look very good, and
Is it because it's 4K?
I'm not gonna be playing it in 4K. I'm doing 1080, man. I'm budget gaming to the highest degree, and I'll probably
Still,
play it on
1080 is not
PC.
bad.
Yeah, I'll play it on PC because then at least I'll get like 100 frames instead of 30. You know, it's
So you
brutal.
can get scared in optimal
Well,
frames.
you know how I went to like a LAN party yesterday.
Yeah.
I was playing on one of my mate's monitors, and like he's not really noticed it before because he just games on like a normal 60 hertz monitor.
Yeah.
And I usually game on 144 hertz, and we're playing Overwatch, which is a really twitchy game, and
Yeah.
you can see the screen tearing, and it's like, oh my god! I guess if you had G-Sync on, it wouldn't be as bad, but
Mm-hmm.
like,
Well,
I
put
will-
it this way: playing Overwatch on Xbox and watching you play Overwatch last night on your 140 hertz,
yeah,
or whatever,
it's like
you
night and
know,
day. Yeah,
like it was so much smoother. Like I could actually track the play
movement,
of the
yeah.
game and the movement
it
of the
just,
characters a
I think
lot
easier
better.
to learn as well because
Yeah.
you're not like, oh, okay, visually it's killing me.
Because, you know, on the consoles, you're stuck to the 60
Yeah.
FPS. So,
All right, let's bring it back to like the topic, right? Because I know
Yeah.
you're trying to divert the conversation as well because
I hate
hate
this
it.
conversation only because I'm thinking of this story about, and it's so fun. It's so funny. I'm thinking of this story about when I watched Mission Impossible 3.
wait, that's not even a horror movie.
It was horrifying for me.
All right.
Zuff, you have no
Elaborate,
idea. I
elaborate.
had to sleep in my parents' room for 3 nights.
What happened?
Because have you seen Mission Impossible 3?
Which one is it? What's it called? Is it just called 3? Or
Yeah, it's the one that has Philip Seymour Hoffman as the bad guy.
I think I have seen that.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, at the beginning of the film, one of the one of the girls that Ethan was training
Yeah.
goes and does like a mission, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
She gets stuck and they put an explosive in her head. And the explosive goes off and they don't have time to like diffuse it.
Yeah.
And it's just the way her face just
Oh, I remember that.
and it fucking stuck with me. And
Yeah.
I just went to sleep knowing that face was going to come and kill me.
Oh, okay. So that
Part of
went to
it.
that
It wasn't the
level of
actual
rationality.
full movie. It was just the fact that her eyes
Just
went
went
two different
like,
ways
yeah, I've
and
seen
her
that
whole face
explosion
just
happen,
looked
yeah.
way weird.
I think
And my parents gave me a hard time because I was 14.
yeah.
14 and I was
What
sleeping
is-
in my parents' room because I was too scared to sleep by myself.
What's your earliest?
You can laugh at me, it's fine.
What's your earliest memory of like a horror movie or a scary movie? Well, like which one can you recall?
I think the first one I actually watched was The Ring.
Oh, really?
Not
that's
The Ring.
That's a scary one
No.
to start off.
What's the one? Oh, The Grudge. Sorry,
That
it's The Grudge.
Yeah, that
And
grudge
it
got
was
me.
the
Yeah, that. I'm gonna do that.
don't
While
you
we're gaming together.
fucking dare.
Yeah.
I will
You know,
cut
you
your
know what?
heart
My
out.
first memory, and it's like it was tied into like events after actually watching it, was the Blair Witch Project, like the original one.
Yep. See, and the game's coming out and I'm not a
I'm
fan.
gonna play
I'm
the
not
game, no,
doing
fuck
it.
that.
No,
But
you will. You will. You love this subject way too much. If you don't play the game, I'm going to be so upset
maybe we'll
because
see.
then I have to pick up the slack, and I can't do
Can't
that.
do it. Well, you know, okay, my first memory of the Blair Witch Project is my brother, who's like 10 years older than me, had
Mm-hmm.
friends around, had got it on VCR or
Yeah.
DVD back then, I don't know. And all the lights in the house were turned off, like an asshole would do. And
Yeah,
was
and because
watching
he's
the
10
movie.
years older, his thought process was all
so
there.
he's like 20, I'm like 10 or 8 or something, and he's like 18, and he's got the movie on. I'm literally from behind a pillow watching the whole movie.
That
right?
I went and saw The Grudge with a group of friends at the cinema.
Oh, that's
And
impactful.
it just stuck with me. And I was literally, I ended up putting my headphones in and listening to music because I just
Ooh,
couldn't.
You just had to like
I
shut
just
it out.
fucking couldn't. And I was like, had my bag and I was like, I can't. I've got to get through this. And then it happened to be a boy that I liked, right?
Oh,
and
of
he's
course.
like, are you okay? And I just went, how fucking dare you? I can't do horror movies.
How dare you do this to me?
I just wanted to see a chick flick and I had to go and see a fucking horror
You know
movie.
what makes it worse?
What?
The Blair Witch Project. My cousin and I and my brother. So a brother who's 1 year older, not the 10-year-older one, and a cousin who's a few years older. We used to ride around the neighborhood all the time and ride through like this forest.
Mhm.
And like it must have been a few weeks or so after we'd watched the Blair Witch movie, and we were riding deep into this forest, and he just came up into this clearing. And in the clearing was literally like the Blair Witch stick witch things that they'd made in it hung up everywhere, like big ones and small ones. And I was a chubby
No.
kid then, and I had never ridden so fast anywhere.
No.
And that stuck with me for a while.
Why do you put yourself through more horror movies after this? You play games too, and I just I cannot understand why someone would put yourself through this heartache. Though having said that, I did go and see A Quiet Place recently.
I haven't seen that one yet. No.
Oh my God. That's one of those movies where the sound or the lack thereof, I think I spoke to you about this last weekend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you did.
And that you need to watch it.
yeah.
And that was a movie when I was like, everyone was saying it's a horror movie. It's a horror movie. Yes and no. It's a suspenseful thriller, but
Yeah.
at the same time, I think I could do horror after that movie. But then again, I don't think I can.
There's a particular type of
because
horror.
I can't do Saw. I did the
You can't do Saw?
I did the first
That's
Saw
more
movie.
gore than horror, though.
Yeah, I did. See, I can watch a brain surgery on like, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
those bloody
Yeah.
shows. Fine. And there would be blood pissing out of some person and I'd
Yeah.
be totally fine with it, right?
Yeah.
Because I know it's real. You watch friggin' Saw and I'm like, that much blood does not come out of someone and that's not what's intestine. I can't do it. I'm not going to watch someone
I think there's
saw
a
their
different
leg
thing behind
off
it.
to get away.
I have a bit of a different theory when it comes to like those types of movies, right? So there's a few
My
different
heart
types.
is racing so fast.
There's a few different types of like horror movies, right?
Yeah.
There's that one which is like someone's captured you and they're putting you through like horrific circumstances.
But
I think that's
it's
scary.
even the point that like after I watched half an hour of that and I was like violently ill.
I think you know what it is like there's always
And I was scared in a
almost real
different
possibility.
way.
Yeah,
Yes.
there's a real possibility where someone could be just messed up in the head and they could do that to you. Now there's the other type of horror that gets more to me than other ones. So like Saw doesn't really affect me. It's like gore. I'd say I don't get jump scared that much or anything.
Mm-hmm.
What gets me is found footage style movies, and that's because of the Blair Witch Project. So
things like, are you saying like Cloverfield?
more like Paranormal Activity. That was before I
watched
stopped
that
believing in that kind
too.
of stuff.
And that
And
creeped me out
yeah.
with the hooves and all.
Yeah.
Nah, don't
That
even fucking
found
start.
footage documentary style, I think it gets to people. And when I was the Blair Witch Project, particularly, I remember they used to spread stories around to make it like it was a real event that happened, and people found the footage and then made it into a movie.
Yeah.
So it's just stuck with me as a kid. So those found footage ones, I either find more interesting or I find them more like they get to me a bit more.
Yeah.
But there's something about that, the suspense and the like bringing on the fear.
I just feel like I'm going to have a heart attack. I'm 27. I'm 27, guys. I'm going to have a heart attack any day watching a fucking horror movie.
What horror
Like,
movie
I'm having
did
a
you
heart
watch?
attack right now.
What horror movie did you watch that was like, no,
a
that
bit
didn't
dramatic.
scare me at all?
None, because I don't watch them. No.
Oh, yeah, okay, that's right. Did you watch The Nun, though?
No.
No.
I didn't watch The Autopsy of Jane Doe either. And someone told me to watch that. And I said, are you fucking serious?
I'm out of it. No way, fuck it.
Hell no. Horror doesn't get me.
Get you going?
No, it doesn't get me going.
No.
It's not one of those things where I actually really enjoy the suspense of like, you know, when someone goes, I want to go on that really fast ride and the other person's like, oh, fuck no.
Like, I don't do heights. Like, I can't do heights. That's my
Love
thing.
it. I could look down and go, fuck, I could fall from here, but I'd be totally fine.
No,
as long as I lived life on the edge. See, horror doesn't
It's
do
too
that for
real
me.
for me then.
And people get that feeling from horror, but horror's not that for me.
Yeah, nah, I don't think I
Horror to people is like a severely fucked up situation.
Okay, how about the Zombie Land? Not a horror movie. It's almost like a comedy, right?
It is.
Can you do like zombie
See,
style movies?
I've watched Walking Dead.
Now, with Dead Space, right? Wasn't it that the one where the monsters could inject you into your head and then you become one of them?
Yes.
You know
I'm
what
pretty
that-
sure I didn't play much of that. I just saw an old friend of mine.
I remember
play that.
thinking those monsters look
And-
like World War Z zombies mixed with like the Predator.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
How he described the game to me was he played it going, yeah, oh yeah, this is scary.
yeah.
And then turned off all the lights and then couldn't sleep for a week. And he was in the Navy. So like
Maybe.
he's like, I'm like real tough and stuff. And then he goes, now I only play that game in the light in the daytime and someone has to be at home. And I was like, okay. So I only played like 5 minutes. I couldn't get through 5 minutes because I'm like, again, horror is just not my
But
thing.
you like your brain kind of knows. I know. I guess like you can trick your brain pretty easily when it comes to like horror and that kind of stuff.
Well, it's the same thing as like when you talk down to yourself, you know that's your brain talking. But it's
Yeah.
the same thing with horror. You know it doesn't exist, but your
Yeah.
brain still goes, but it
it's
fucking
real.
could.
It's fucking real. Yeah.
It's fucking real and you're going to die.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I get that.
so, okay, I want to go in and see what your top 5 games for horror are.
Oh, top 5. I don't even know if I have that many. That like Resident Evil was like because like the ones when I was younger, Resident Evil and Doom, they're definitely up in the top 5. I'm trying to think what else I would count amongst like a scary game that is my top. I don't know. Dead Space would have to be one that like I remember even just watching that one. That was pretty intense.
But they did 3 games
Silent
for
Hill,
that.
Silent Hill, yeah, because they still have Silent, like they're
Yeah.
upgrading on that one. Yeah, I can those 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
4. So we'll do a top 4 then.
Yeah,
I'll let you off.
Yeah.
Okay, so movies then. Is that something that you're really into, horror movies?
Horror
or
movies is
like,
more my thing. Like, so, okay, scariest for sure still, just because it like tied me back to when I was a kid, was Blair Witch Project. Not the new one. That one didn't do anything for me. But Blair Witch Project.
What about the new It movies?
I enjoyed those. Like, I don't get scared from that type of movie, but I
See,
found
because
it like,
I find them more of a suspenseful thriller than a horror.
Than a horror. So I'd say Blair Witch, Paranormal. When I watched it, that was like decent. And then there's let's see, I would say The Grudge,
Mm-hmm.
The Ring,
Mm-hmm.
and number 5. I have to choose wisely. Number 5.
See, I can tell you on one hand how many movies I've watched that I never will watch again.
I wouldn't say it's like a horror in terms of scaring me, but like the suspense and build up is like the first Saw, because it was so revolutionary.
I have to say yes, and because
And
that
low
was
budget,
like
Australian
low
movie.
budget. Was it Australian?
Well, it's an Australian writers.
Okay, all
They're
right,
like
because I
two
knew it was a
university
university
students.
thing.
Yeah.
Same with Wolf Creek.
Wolf Creek.
Creek.
Yeah, Wolf Creek's one of those like.
Was a university produced film too,
Yeah,
and now you've got the TV show and the second movie's come out and all of that.
I like the movie more than the TV show, I think. But yeah, Wolf Creek is kind of up there as well. But yeah,
and Wolf, I think what appealed
I'll
to
say
people
Wolf
more.
Creek is scarier to me than Saw, because it's way more.
Well, see, they're totally different things.
Yeah,
and because the way that they did it was they didn't buy into the whole supernatural thing. They bought into the whole this could actually fucking happen.
And it's like in a part of Australia that you're like, that definitely could happen there, because you could just go missing there, no one would know.
No, and it's in the outback, so it was like it was perfect writing.
Okay, you're right there.
Yeah.
Wolf Creek.
I've never watched
in the
it,
top 5.
but I've had people tell me what it's about, and
you haven't watched it?
I will never ever.
I'm gonna make you watch it.
No.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
All right. What about you? You don't actually. No, you don't play enough games for it to be a top 5.
I don't play enough games, though. From experience and watching other people play through like hands over my eyes and like type situation, Dead Space definitely was up there.
Yeah.
In terms of the fact that they really used the sound choices,
also,
the way the story progressed as well, and that the fact that I'm pretty sure during those games the monsters progressed as well.
Oh, they got more and more like menacing
and more intense and quiet. So the more you went through, the harder it got.
You know what I also
which I kind of found really intriguing as a game.
I like it when games use like the high pitched tone to disorientate the player, and it kind of like puts you off balance in a way.
Yeah.
That I always found interesting. One thing I do remember as well with Slender Man, I think it's the first game I remember watching PewDiePie react to.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think that was the first one.
He just recently hit 100 million on YouTube.
First
Congratulations,
individual.
PewDiePie.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's crazy, yeah.
You know, he's like now doing Minecraft, which is like not.
No, I mean,
but
those,
like
those
Slender,
creepers
yeah.
can be pretty bad.
Oh my god. But in terms of like game, I'd probably say watching people play games, Dead Space.
Yeah.
The new Resident Evil that's just come out is pretty suspenseful.
I haven't played that one. I haven't catch up.
I've played sections of it. I think the game that I'm also thinking of is Until Dawn.
Oh, yes.
See, I'm only recently finding
the
horror intriguing, and I've seen some things on YouTube. Like I like to watch.
Starts.
I like to.
Next thing, by next year,
never ever. No, we're
me.
not going to come back in a year's time and have a 1 year special, and I'm a horror geek. No way.
Maybe
it's not going to happen.
No, you know what I'm going to do?
No.
For the YouTube channel.
No. I'm putting a no to this right now.
Because Halloween's coming up.
No.
We have to get you reacting to a horror game. Just a little bit.
No, but okay. The only way I'll do that is if you don't scare me. But I can't trust that
I'm
because
not, no.
Oh, I see. You've got a smile
No,
on
no,
your
no, no,
face.
no, no,
I know
no.
exactly what you're like, and it's on camera too.
I promise
YouTube.
I won't. I promise I won't. But you have to
Okay,
do
it's recorded, and you better not fucking edit
You're
this
gonna
out.
make me play games that I don't like to play.
What? I'm making you play Borderlands? Oh my god, that's such
No,
a
no, no.
harsh
But
reality.
I just haven't played it, so I'm gonna. It's it's different to the type of game that I'm used to playing.
Fine, okay. For YouTube and for the views, I will do it. But
All right.
but
All right. Let's bring it to a close. So basically,
but you didn't ask me what
you're-
my top 5
how
movies
about
were.
no? I don't know if it would be top 5 for you. How about top 3?
But I had 5.
Oh, you have 5. Okay, go top 5.
No, I don't. I only have 3.
Really?
I don't actually have 3. Let's just end it.
Oh. Top 1.
Um,
Scariest movie that you can remember.
It'd have to be The Grudge.
Yeah.
But I saw Grudge 1 and Grudge 2, and I think the moment that stuck with me was Sarah Michelle Gellar's moment
In the
where she's
shower.
in hospital in number 2,
Right.
and then she runs and just literally jumps out the window.
That stuck with you?
Well, yeah, because she just heard that voice and
And that was it.
and saw it, and
yeah.
she just couldn't get away from it. She was in like a mental institution and everything, and jumped out of a 10-story window to
guarantee.
get away.
Yeah, that's one way to do it. Well,
But I think that's so real though.
yeah,
too.
I guess if that was happening to you, then I guess if you could just view the movie in terms of someone who has schizophrenia, meh. Same diff.
That could be another episode.
Like a whole nother movies that could have been schizophrenia. Shutter Island,
Oh my god! Or like Inception, even
Inception. It's just some dude who's just like in his basement.
tripping
Dude,
balls.
I'm the best at time and dreams. I can do time and dreams.
I can do it all.
Yeah. He's like,
I loved
I'm
that
actually like a
movie.
lucid dreamer.
I take drugs and I'm a
Yeah,
lucid
yeah.
dreamer.
I took just too much DMT and fell asleep. And then
Woke up and
I've-
whoa, man,
I've,
whoa,
like, I woke up and I was like Mysterio.
yeah.
All right. Let's bring it to a close.
Okay.
Anyways, this is an interesting first episode as well. I'm glad that you were willing to talk about horror first off the bat.
When you told me we were going to do this for the first episode, I literally wanted to slap that smug face
I should
of yours.
just upload onto Instagram clips of me scaring you throughout the day.
No, can we not?
Can we not? Anyways,
Let's pretend we did.
yeah.
And
thanks, thanks for tuning in and listening. And
Yeah.
we do want your feedback. So hit us up on Instagram or YouTube in terms of like comments or DMs in terms of what you want to see and hear.
Yeah, we want to
What
know
you
what makes you tick as a gamer
Yeah.
or as a movie buff or even like anything to do with pop culture or
or gaming.
games or movies. We want to know like if there's something going on
What
at the
gets you going?
moment
We want to know.
on the internet, let us know and we'll
Yeah.
have a chat about it.
Our upload schedule at the moment looks like it's going to be obviously we're dropping 5 episodes on Friday the 13th, which you'll only know because you've listened
following
to this one,
us, yeah.
or following us. And then it's every Friday 6 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time we'll drop an episode.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to be throwing in special episodes whenever we can of
Usually dropping them on a Wednesday.
yeah, usually on a Wednesday, but
Yeah.
not necessarily on a regular basis, just when we can kind of fit them in of kind of more special things like we have a few things in the pipeline that we probably want to
We're going to keep them
announce
to
on Facebook. Yeah.
ourselves,
we'll
but
announce on Facebook and Instagram. Hey guys, if you enjoyed that video, hit the like button. If you loved it, subscribe and hit the notification bell. You can also find us on Spotify and iTunes. Our socials are linked in the description below. Hit us up in the comments to tell us what you'd like to hear about. I'm Zuff from Gamified, and remember, game on, peace.